Well, we continue with the broadcast this morning, and this hour of news and views is sponsored by Africa Muslims Agency. Africa Muslims Agency, a beacon of hope to communities for over 35 years in Africa and beyond. And being the blessed day of Jummah, once again, Alhamdulillah, we have been blessed with this day. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is kind to us, and it's time for us to get nasiha and to be inspired once again on this day of Jummah. And this morning, Alhamdulillah, once again, the honor, the pleasure of having our respected Moulana Abdullah Khan, administrator at the Jamiatul Ulama KwaZulu-Natal. Moulana, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum. So how are you, brother?
Alhamdulillah, doing very well, Moulana, with your du'as, and hope all is well on your side.
Allah's fazal, alhamdulillah. Allah is kind and merciful, alhamdulillah, to us with so many bounties and ni'mats.
Well, certainly, Moulana. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. The platform is all yours.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli wa nusallimu ala rasulihil kareem. Amma ba'd. My most honorable and respected listeners, being the auspicious and Mubarak day of Jumu'ah, I wish to remind myself and fellow listeners with regards to firstly our amals for the day of Jummah, and that we should be steadfast and ensure that the day does not pass us by except that we have recited our Suratul Kahf, and secondly that we keep our tongue moist and wet with the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the recitation of Durood Sharif. Sometimes we become neglectful of this very, very important amal, especially on a Friday. We are living in a time of fitna. We are living in a time of many, many challenges. And just like how a person, when he goes out in a battlefield, he wears an armor and he goes with arms and ammunition. He is ready for any challenges that might come to him. So in the physical world, that's what we do. So similarly, we are living in a time of challenges. We can say we are living in a time of fitna, and we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing to empower ourselves or to put an armor around us to ensure that we are not getting affected by the various challenges that we are facing on our iman. And amongst those things, one is the recitation of the Surah Al-Kahf every Friday, and secondly is the recitation of Durood Sharif abundantly, and thirdly making istighfar and being in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I wish to share one advice today, inshallah, and that will give me also the tawfiq. And this is an advice that let us see how we can tie our tongue. And normally it's belief that, the tongue, it is the strongest muscle in the body. But in reality, it is not true. The tongue is not the strongest muscle in the body. But definitely it is that muscle that goes through the greatest endurance, and is the tongue. Because you never see a person saying, my tongue is tired, or I'm tired of speaking, but he continues speaking, or the tongue is involved in so many actions, in the sense that the tongue is eating, helping us to swallow our food, helping us to speak. And we never ever heard the tongue saying that I'm tired today, I'm not going to be able to do any work that I'm normally used to be doing. And normal endurance that I go through today, I'm very tired, I don't want any strain, I'm not going to be able to do anything that I normally do. We never ever heard such a complaint from the tongue. But what is very, very important is the advice of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he said and advised us that the tongue, although it is a very small muscle, but it can cause severe harm and severe damage. One time Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in conscientizing the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum in regards to the tongue, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that indeed the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he makes a statement which pleases Allah. that particular servant does not even attach any importance to what he has said. But the manner in which he has used his tongue, Allah Ta'ala elevates that person's rank because of his good statement that he may have made, and Allah Ta'ala becomes very pleased with him. And then on the other hand, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam continues in the same hadith in Bukhari Sharif that indeed a servant of Allah, he makes a statement that angers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that servant who made that statement, he doesn't really attach any importance to what he has said. So maybe he has maybe not realized it, or he doesn't really realize the importance or the seriousness of what he said. And then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam continues in a hadith and says that that particular person, because of that statement, on account of his statement, it causes him to fall deep into the fire of Jahannam. And he creates, this particular furtherness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he does not realize that just by making a statement, this tongue is such a powerful, muscle that Allah Ta'ala has given us, that it can cause a person to be elevated and be, become a close banda of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just by taking care of his tongue. And that person who does not take care of his tongue, that particular tongue can cause him to fall in the depths of Jahannam. So there's a famous saying that we should tie our tongue and that we should always be cautious of what we are saying, what we are what we are, uttering, what words we are saying. And we should be very cautious. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam advised us that we should weigh our amals, and we should also take stock of ourselves, of what we are saying, as if we can weigh them. So at the end of the day, when we are going to bed today, we must ask ourselves that how have I fared insofar as the weight of what I have uttered today in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah ta'ala has to weigh my actions, Allah ta'ala has to weigh my words that I have uttered today, then will I be on a positive or will I be on a negative? Some people, Allah ta'ala safeguard and protect us, they don't realize there are sometimes vulgar words that are used. We offend people, we make statements, and we don't realize the seriousness of the action that we are doing. And in our day and age, we're going to add that even on the social media and how we are responding on WhatsApp and all these other means of communication, am I maintaining the decorum, and am I maintaining the integrity? Am I maintaining the dignity of the fellow Muslim brother, or am I just not worried and saying what I want to say, whether it's in writing or whether it is verbally? So these are things that we have to actually take stock of ourselves. In another hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained to us that on account of our carelessness in our speech, a person loses all his reward. Now imagine in one hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Man lam yada' qawla zur." Man lam yada' qawla zur. That person who does not safeguard and protect himself from futile talk, qawla zur. وَالْعَمِلَ بِهِ فَلَيْسَ لِلَّهِ حَاجَةٌ فِيمَا يَدَعَ طَعَامَهُ وَشَرَابَهُ. Allah Ta'ala is not in need of that person staying away from food and drink if he cannot manage his tongue and he doesn't take control of his tongue. So many a times we hear the statement that the tongue is the mightiest of his all, but I think, there's a famous proverb that the pen is mightier than the sword. The pen is mightier than the sword. We should also remember that the tongue is the mightiest of all. Sometimes we may cause a person, by just our speech, saying something, we can cause a person to become so distant from us that for many, many, many years, at times, a person refuses to even speak to another person. And when you go into the depths of the matter, he says that he said something very hurtful to me one time, and I'm not happy to sit with him on the same table, or I'm not happy to share a meal with him. many a times because of not controlling our tongue, Allah Ta'ala safeguard and protect us. Many marriages also break. So that is why we must take serious this particular very great ni'mat and bounty that Allah Ta'ala has given us. Utilize it in the appropriate manner, utilize it in the best manner. And if we can't utilize it in the best manner, the minimum we should do is rather we keep silent, that we say something good, or rather we be silent. Allah Ta'ala make it such that inshallah, right until next week, we try and exercise and keep this particular, nasiha and advice in front of our minds, and that inshallah Allah Ta'ala give us tawfiq to make amal. And if we have done something, we have hurt somebody, be the first one to go forward and say, please make me maaf. I may have uttered something that was not correct, and I am sorry about what I have said. And moving forward, let us be cautious that we do not utilize this very great ni'mat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to earn the displeasure of Allah, but we should be using it to earn the pleasure of Allah ta'ala. Allah ta'ala grant you and me the tawfiq. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Ameen, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Jazakallah khairan so much for that, Moulana. Very profound, very, very powerful nasiha. Alhamdulillah. A lot for us to actually think about, but more importantly, to practice upon what is being said. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward. Allah accept all your efforts, Moulana, and for your time with us this morning, right here on Salam Media for the nasiha on this beautiful day of Jummah, inshallah. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Moulana Abdullah Khan with us this morning, right here with the Jummah Nasiha. We are going to go for a quick break. We still have got quite a bit to cover this morning. We were taking a look at the Ummah Tech Conference 2024 and also taking a look at the Al Tawheed Foundation, their annual Jalsa that is taking place, and the Salam Media. Once again, our journalism, our humanitarian journalism initiative, alhamdulillah, this time around, the Hamza Shalan tour of South Africa, which will start off next week, inshallah, in Kabeja, in Port Elizabeth. This morning, we will be taking a look at what we can expect in Mafikeng with Moulana Ibrahim Angamia.
We are here in the middle of a Zahra neighborhood. The whole neighborhood is already destroyed. More than 17 towers are down. Here, as you can see, the firefighters trying their best to help. The people are still under the rubble. A lot of the people.
Join Hamza on his exclusive South African tour as he shares his personal experiences, never before seen footage, and powerful insights on the ongoing genocide in Gaza. This is more than just a talk. It's an invitation to witness Gaza through the lens of Hamza Sha'alan. Don't miss this opportunity to meet the photojournalist who brought Gaza's pain and perseverance to the world in its darkest moments. Follow Salam Media on social media pages for more on this tour and be part of the conversation.